Damon, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Awesome. Excellent. That is fantastic. I've read all your articles. I've watched a lot of videos. I'm a big adherent to the getting to inbox zero as close as possible. You make the point, you make it well. Everyone's process is a little bit different because everybody's use of email is a little bit different. It kind of molds to how you work. And so I kind of want to capitalize on the demo idea. The best way to explain how we can do a lot of these things in Outlook is to show them directly in Outlook. So we're all going to get a up close view of my inbox live. So please refrain from sending sensitive emails to me during this time. Did that work? Are we seeing my desktop?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Excellent. I don't see the link around. Okay. Great. So, this is my inbox. I have, it takes hours and hours of time if you're committed, but you can get your inbox down to a manageable, almost non-existent level. So in this demo, I want to make it very clear that everything I'm showing is using the latest version of Outlook, and it's all this and these tools, any other tools I show you are all available to all faculty at Vanderbilt. So if you have an Exchange account and you're connected to it with Outlook, you should be able to replicate a lot of this stuff. So as we've seen, in Outlook, labels are folders. Folders is like the structure for organizing emails that you want to keep that are not immediately actionable. So I just want to clarify, many of you probably already have folders, but the most expedient way to create a folder in Outlook is simply right-click in the place where you want to start that folder, or where you want it located. So in here, I'll create an agendas folder. You can create really anything. I have a follow-up folder I'll use for this. So again, borrowing from the structure of how to manage emails. If you have an email, I get these all the time, voicemails from probably robodials, and they never leave a message. They just leave this empty voicemail. That's a perfect example for just deleting it right away. So you can use the link, the click link, or as you can see, and as Dr. Talbert's already shown us, the keyboard shortcuts are going to save you a ton of time to do this rapidly. So in Outlook, in this case, you're hovering, you can see it's Control D. It's the quick form there. You can Control D right here and delete the email, or you can just select it as he did in the list and Control D and it's gone. So deleting, you want to do that a lot. I agree with Derek, a little nervous making to delete emails you haven't seen, but if you see enough spam and stuff, you know what that looks like, and you can delete it. Moving stuff to a folder. I get Skype numbers because our team runs Skype on campus as well. So I get these automated Skype numbers every week. They talk about all the Skype devices on campus. I have, in my capacity, I have folders around reporting. So I have a lot of reports that I get from system reports all over campus about activities that are happening in the services. These are not high important alerts. So I would just move this to one of the report folders. So there is in Outlook, there's a move button. And much like in Word or Excel, if you click it, you're going to see the most recent places you moved, folders you've moved items to. I tend not, just like in Word now and Excel, I tend not to rely on that. I like to see the structure itself so I know where I'm dropping it. I'm sorry, let me go back. When you hover over other folder, this is like the Gestalt. This is everything. So Control-Shift-V is another shortcut that I just internalize because I'm constantly moving things to folders for reference later for not immediate action. So in this case, other folder, and then I can go through, this is my folder structure that you can see duplicated right here. And in this case, I would go down into reports, and this is the Skype numbers. So I'd come down to Skype numbers, and you click OK, and now it's been moved to that folder for reference later. When I get asked, what do the Skype numbers look like 3 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, I've got them sorted. So this is kind of getting into the area of how do we do the next things. A lot of these things, when I get emails in, I know they're going to need a follow-up of some type. I have so this email, I've talking to AT&T. I want to talk to them today. It's related to a project I'm doing. I know I want to talk to them today. The follow-up flag. This is huge in Outlook for kind of managing and keeping track of what's going on. So if you have an email, you know you're going to follow up on it. attach a follow-up flag to it. You can follow up today, tomorrow, this week, which kind of means 2 days from now until Friday, or next week, which tends to be just Friday next week. Or you can give it a custom date, which these are all excellent things. So this is something I know I'm going to work on today, so I can give it a follow-up flag of today. And to keep in that spirit of inbox zero, because out of sight, out of mind, but you've tagged it, so you'll follow up on it later. You can, now that it's done, you can move it to a follow-ups folder like this one. You can drag it in the GUI, or I'm going to use that Control-Shift-V, and I'm going to use arrow keys, left arrow, left arrow, left arrow, jump right through the hierarchy to get straight to the folder I want to go to. So I can drop it in follow-up. It's out of sight, out of mind, but I know I've tagged it for today, for follow-up today. So as an aside, I know I'm throwing a lot of things at you. I'm going to have notes about all of these features I call out, and probably more than I'll get time to go to, and that'll be provided to you as part of this this whole presentation. So here's a little trick, used judiciously. But if I'm sending a new email, like my friend Jeff here, I want to send Jeff an email, and I really want him to act on something today. I can use the follow-up flag in the email you're sending. You can use a follow-up flag and customize your follow-up flag. I can actually set a follow-up flag for Jeff. So if I need Jeff to respond by 4 o'clock today, I can even use the notification methods in Outlook, if he's an Outlook user, for it to pop up. Hey, Jeff, Damon sent you an email. He needs you to follow up by 4 today. So again, use judiciously if you don't want to be known as somebody who's always pestering other folks through email. But that's a very nice functionality. So the follow-up flag turns these emails into tasks in Outlook, if you've seen that before, and that's a way that we can manage this. In addition to it making tasks, all tasks are synced to a 365 app that we all have access to. It's a very, very light form of Trello. It is not Trello, but there is a Microsoft app called To-Dos, and To-Dos, like I said, syncs all of your tasks, and it's a good way for planning and sorting the things you need to work on. So everything that's flagged, whether it's today or in the future, is in your list here. So To-Dos, totally different conversation. Lots of cool stuff you can do there, much like Planner, a Trello would be. So say you get a lot of emails. You're always getting the same listservs from your department or from periodicals. Your Wall Street Journal constantly comes in. You know you want to get it, but you don't want to hit Control-Shift-V every day when you get that new Wall Street Journal. You can set up rules to automate the organization and management of those incoming emails. So in this case, I get emails from Cortana all the time. Rules are you just create a rule. So when you create a rule, it's going to jump in with some, common options. Oh, yeah, I see you're creating a rule. This is Clippy from the old days. I see you're creating a rule. Let me help you by suggesting the most common things that people want to create with rules. And you can pick based on, you can action your rule based on who it's coming from or the subject it contains, who it's being sent to. But why stop there? Let's see all the options for rules. There really are a lot of complexity in here. You can spend hours crafting just the right rule. But there's a whole set of conditions you can set. In this case, let's say, yeah, from Cortana. But even in the rule, you can edit that and add your own data. You can customize that. Once you've established what fires the rule, you can decide what to do. What's the action that the rule takes? Most commonly, you're going to move it to a specified folder. Specified in this case means I can click specified and select the folder in my existing folder structure. Or I can always create a new one. So you get continuous management there. And then I can choose exceptions. If it's on Thursdays, I want it to stay in my inbox. Instead of going to the folder, you can choose an exception here. And then the next step, and this is really powerful for getting to inbox zero. If you're faced with 10,000 items in your inbox and there's a lot of commonality there, name your rule for management within your rule set. but you can run this rule right now on everything in your inbox. And I've done this before and waited many, many minutes for it to finish processing and moving a huge trove of stuff to a folder. So that'll help you get to inbox 0. So while we're on rules, this is my big tip. I love this productivity tip. I like to use rules for outbound emails. So that's just an inbound email rule. If you go back to rules and you do just manage rules and alerts, like show me the management console where all my rules live, you'll see that it's crazy here because I have a lot of rules for reports that I get for all the services we manage. But I have an outbound delivery delay, right? Email is not a real-time form of communication anyway. Outbound delivery delay holds my outbound emails in my outbox for 2 minutes. I send an email to Derek, it waits for 2 minutes before it actually sends. So if I sent that email and I go, you know what? I forgot to add that attachment. Let me go back. It's right there in my outbox. I can open the email back up, drag the attachment in. That helps in a lot of cases. Somebody blasts the email out to a whole group. You're writing up a great response. Somebody else writes up a better response faster. Okay, you don't have to respond because the response is there. There's a lot of reasons. The outbound rule has saved me a lot of places. The AI is getting better. This is true in Google as well as Outlook. A lot of times your email client will say, hey, I noticed you hit send and you reference in the body, you note in the attached file, but you didn't attach a file. Did you mean to do that? So the clients are getting better about helping us, from making those mistakes. But the outbound rule is just another methodology to consider. Warning on the outbound rule, you don't want to close your Outlook client until that 2 minutes is up. Otherwise, it'll just stay in your outbox until you open it up again the next time. Okay, let's see. So quick steps. This is something I'm not a huge expert in, but it's actually very cool. Quick steps is kind of like the macros of Outlook. If you've used Word or Excel or one of these products long enough, and you're like, if I click here and then click here and then click here and type this in, it'd be great if I could do that all at once as one set. Quick steps is kind of a way to do that. So in this example, this doesn't happen very rarely, but if there's an IT problem, we have an internal process where we send a big IT alert. And it has a certain structure so we can capture information like when did it start, who does it impact, when do we expect it to be done. So we have a quick step that I've designed where you click VoIT alert, and I double clicked, and it creates a templatized email. So I can imagine the beginning of every class, every semester you're teaching, you probably field the same questions over and over again, a template, and then just fire off the template to whoever's asking it and maybe save yourself some time there. Again, there's a lot of power here that I've untapped, but it's nice to know that's a capability. At mentions. Okay, I love this. And this is kind of a clever thing, but if there's this project work or we need to work on, and as I'm typing the email, I'm thinking to myself, well, I need to get Jeff involved in this and have him work on something. At mention, just kind of like in all the social media stuff nowadays. This works for everyone in your contact list or anyone at Vanderbilt. So you can I can type out Jeff and say, you're captain, and I can say, Derek, give him a duty, co-captain. So the value of this is, as I'm typing, I'm adding people to the to line as I think of them. And when Derek and Jeff get this email, they can kind of scan it if it's a long one and see where their name's mentioned to kind of get their attention drawn to a piece of the email. That's really nice. Also, if you like to walk around and talk when you're on meetings, I know I do this all the time with the wireless headsets. There is a capability in Outlook to just straight dictate, and then everything you say will just get added right to the Outlook to your window. Of course, you probably want to go back and edit. It's not perfect like any of these voice to text solutions are, and I haven't mastered putting in punctuation and line breaks and things like that. So that's nice to be there, and hopefully it makes you more productive is the intent of showing that off. Also, my wife's a Spanish teacher, so she sent me a Spanish email so I could demo this. If you get emails in other languages, there is an embedded translate feature. So actually, yeah, that's the email she sent me. It auto recognizes the language that it's in and allows you to translate. I believe there's capabilities comparable to that in Google. Most of this stuff is the great thing about the competition is they keep each other honest and forcing new capabilities all the time. Let's see. So one thing, just last week, somebody asked me about, it'd be great. I'm always getting these requests to schedule things, to have meetings, and I have to keep toggling back and forth between my calendar and whatnot. This view that shows your calendar, I find really, really helpful if someone's not using like a meeting identification program. They're just saying, are you free? When are you free on Friday? And things like that. So that, and
Hey, Damon, how did
yes.
you turn on the dictation?
Dictation, it is, you have to have a new message up. So open a new message and it is in your taskbar, voice dictate. Or you may have a view like this with a classic ribbon, in which case it's the microphone. And again, you have to be using the latest version of Outlook or a more recent version of Outlook. So if you don't see it in your version of Outlook, let's talk. Like, talk to your local IT rep and we can make sure you're running the latest version, because this is a version everyone at Vanderbilt has access to. And I think the most powerful thing, yes, say this is something that I need to work on. I can, if I say this is something I need to work on today, so I'll follow up today. I'll make this actionable today. And then if I go to my calendar view, all of the tasks, all the follow-up emails are listed as tasks here. And I have a 30-minute break after this meeting. I can find that email and I can just drag it right into that 30-minute spot. And now I've blocked that 30 minutes on my calendar to address that email. So in fact, I just got a pop-up in the other window reminding me this is coming up in 7 minutes. So and the nice thing about that is when you drag the email to the message, like we were asking, say there's a link in it, I need to make some time to work to do that, to schedule that meeting, or that attendance. The email is the meeting. And even beyond that, I can still add other people to it. If I wanted to invite someone on my team to this as a meeting, now I'm effectively sending them the meeting as well and blocking the same time on their calendar. All this we can dive into deeper in sessions on calendar management. But yeah, turning emails into calendar items is very, very nice.
Damon, just so I'm clear, did you have to put a flag on that first so it would show up underneath your calendar?
As a task, yes.
Gotcha. So it's really turning your email to a task and then taking the task up to your calendar.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Because I can't see the tasks on my calendar right now, but I wasn't looking to turn on tasks.
And there may be, and that may be a view setting too.
Yeah.
So yes. And then, oops, sorry. I do want to mention too, for those who really love Gmail, I love Gmail too. I use it in the GUI all the time for my personal email. But if you find some of these things in Outlook so you want to get the best of both worlds, you can load up Gmail in your Outlook. This is my personal Gmail account. So you can get the productivity capabilities of Outlook and all the awesome flexibility and mobility of Gmail. I apologize, I spoke very fast. So I've burned through a lot of these things. There's a lot of flexibility in how you view your content. I know most of you probably don't see a view that looks like this because the default views are very different. There's a lot of the layout, as I were mentioning in the chat earlier, the reading pane is very common for people to be able to see the messages as they click through. It's personal preference and what makes you most productive. With that, and then there's assistance for reading. So, read aloud. Okay, sorry, completely a side tip. Read aloud is super powerful for email communications. If you're going to send someone an email and you're like, "Am I saying this right?" You can make the system read it back to you, so you hear it in an impartial voice. So it's not you, and you're not reading it in your own voice. So that can be really helpful if you're trying to send a sensitive email. Okay. with that, those are the main points I have covered. I have some other information